Welcome into today's 820 show. Today we're going to talk about or offer you another description on the value, system, and process of resilience. We're going to kind of touch on, not really define assiduously, on humanity and humility. But keep those terms in the back of your mind and on top of your heart. You and I are just ordinary people, but we have extraordinary potential. Let's dig into this with a bit more context. It might take me a minute or maybe another episode to get through this one, but keep in mind humility, humanity, and potential. And also, there's another piece of ballast here about sound and music. I mentioned that before in other episodes about sound and music are part of my core, my interests, and large part of my attention that supports my vision on things, my drive on people, on myself. So while this may come across as a major stretch on relevance in this conversation, and you're probably going to ask me, how could it even remotely support my proposition to you today? But here it is anyway. I believe in my heart that all of those musical giants, composers, artists, professionals who produce a sound with a message whenever they put their fingers and mouths and feet and hands and heart and soul into their instruments. Now, many of those giants of music and sound may not have planned or spoken of this observation that I now make to you today. But as an example, not even related directly to the music category or genre that I remain an elementary student of, jazz. No, this group I'm going to mention to you, this music group and collection, came through the rhythm and blues and funk side of the music, mostly of the 70s and 80s time frame, if you all have a reference to that point in time in music, the original music and message that was intertwined back then in the 70s and 80s. And that, at least for me, permeates this moment and day to day. Not just for the melodies, the hooks, the beats, but now I have just learned and started to discern the underlying message and purposes of what they produced back then. And to me now is very current and relevant to my drive today about resilience. But before I get into the statement about this band and the group, who presented something back then that I have only really now begun to appreciate and to then for me to apply to my own resilience. That group is called Parliament. That group, that band, that collection of brilliant musicians, they shared intricate words and phrases and melodies even before this current presentation of vulgarities and misogyny and explicit sexual statements and disrespect of our fellow male and female humanities. Parliament crafted a cohesive music and words, chemistry that would astound you if you would take the time to actively sit back and listen, even transcribe, and correlate their rhythm and flow to today's conditions. But perhaps we can discuss that next time. Here's the main connection of Parliament to the 820 Enterprise. Or maybe this, the 820 Mothership. Look that up when you get a chance regarding the group Parliament. One of their albums that I'm mentioning today was called Funkadelic. Funkadelic. Their music, full of rhythm and blues and soul and funk. So that title, Funkadelic, I kind of got the funk part. I loved the music from, Kool and the Gang and definitely Parliament. But even back then, and as recently as maybe 8 months ago, I was saying, what the hell is Intelic? I thought it was just a made-up word by Parliament. Those of you also who are as old as I am, like the Isaac Hayes album or song, he had a song, I'm not sure if I can even pronounce this properly. One of his songs was called, let me give this a shot, Hyperbolic Syllabic Sequential Mystic something. I thought it was a made up song by Isaac Hayes, and I thought that Parliament's Funkadelic was similar to that tune or that title from Isaac Hayes. But no. Funk and Intelic are both actual words. Maybe combining them might appear in the dictionary, but for resilience purposes, Intelic has a lot of substantive relevance. And for this discussion today, I have committed this 820 mothership to guide you on your personal journey, on our mutual and respective journeys in resilience, because it will serve as a medium and vessel for us to connect, to share, and to reduce the distractions, the distances, and the conflicts potentially between us. To unite before we ever consider the separation option. So, while I have introduced many terms and descriptions and definitions to you in my proposal to you on resilience, from our common sources and resources given to us on this journey, that word Intelic really concretizes the notion of resilience for me. Intelic means the realization of potential. Written, published, performed, recorded, and distributed to the world almost 50 years ago. Now, I may have to pause this for a part two, but let me continue with this statement today. 50 years ago, they did this and made that term happen. To me, that term and performing it as a song is still timeless, ageless, and relevant enough for me to connect that to the 820 message and purpose offered to you for your consideration today. From a seemingly simple, maybe innocuous or ignored song and music group, yet the term and the meaning make sense to me today. You and I are just simple, ordinary beings. And with some connected levels of humanity, humility, and confidence. That, for me, gets us on to the path of common resilience, where if we can just stay the course, keep the pace and direction, do the work to produce from the construct and infrastructure of the presence we all have, we can actually have Intelic every day, every moment. For me, let's call it the Ming Intelic. For you, the you Intelic. For us, the us Intelic. Our individual and collective realization of potential, now and forever forward. I hope this additional word in your world can help you. Intelic. I hope it's something that you can use on your new journey today in resilience. Stay present. Stay current. Remember, wherever you go, wherever you are, realize your potential, your Intelic, and tell someone, damn it, it is 820.